welcome everybody to another episode of Three Birds and a Punt. As always, I'm one of your hosts. My name is Afia, and I'm joined by my friend John. Say hey, John.
Hey.
All right. We're missing Whit, but hopefully he'll be in to join us later on. The title of this episode, episode 54, is called Defense Eatin, because y'all know, they was slurping them up 9 sacks on the day. Come on now. The Three Birds are happy to announce that we've partnered with AmazeMedia Labs to be the official Eagles podcast for the Pigskin Network. You can find the Three Birds on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Megaphone, or wherever you get your podcast. We're also on Twitter and on Instagram at Three Birds and a Punt. We really have been appreciating all the fan support that you guys give us, and really this season has been beyond our expectations. So I really just want to get into it because I'm on cloud 9 right now. 9's the magic number today. So I want to get to it, John. Let's start with how dominating the defense was. What was your impression of the day in the defense?
Relentless. With just 4 rushes. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but we knew what Carson's weaknesses were, which was pumping, holding on to the ball too long, double pumping, and then taking it back. That's just it's a recipe for disaster, and it showed today. And everything from 2019, 2020, even 2021, as to why he's on his 3rd team in 3 years, which is sad to see because he was beloved, but not today.
No, not today.
Not today.
He was enemy number 1, and we made him feel it.
Fletcher Cox Fletcher Cox set the tone with that first sack. Oh, they came relentless all day.
Fletcher had 2.5. Graham had 1.5 or 2.5. Sweat had 2.5. TJ Edwards had a sack. So Hassan Riddick, I believe, had a sack. I mean, you this is what you want. You want to get pressure, like you said, John. You want to get pressure with your front 4, and we were dominating all day. I mean, we'll get into the game plan each of the teams had and how it was just a complete utter mismatch, right? From Jonathan Gannon to the coordinator of the Commanders. But you just have to say, we've pretty much been going after the defense for having very soft zones for since last season. Okay. And I wasn't on the Fire Gannon brigade, but I was getting close to it because, you was just not liking the way that he was just very passive and not really giving you what you want to see out of Philadelphia Eagles defense. And I think today it could have been the quarterback, could have been this, that, and the third, but I want to give credit to the defense for playing, like you said, relentlessly with passion, anticipation, or rallying to the ball, everything that you want to see as a cohesive unit, we were able to see.
I think they knew that they would drop back and throw the ball over 30 times. So they were like, you know what? Every snap, we're just going to get off, get to the quarterback, get there. And it showed they had no semblance of a running game until late. Yeah. They had no semblance on a passing game until late.
Yeah. It's very true. They
Carson,
rattled him early. They rattled Carson early. They made him feel very uncomfortable in that pocket. His pocket presence hasn't always been the best, but just has gotten progressively terrible as time has gone on. I didn't necessarily see any hero ball out of him, but he just kept holding the ball on too long, looking for routes that weren't there. I think, again, we'll talk about the game plan next, but it was just not what you want to see from – honestly, just as a competitor, you want to see a competitive game. And I think early on, you could see that the defense was just going to give them work. Okay. Yeah. And they just didn't have an answer for it. They just really could not match up to the intensity of the team. Jordan Davis had a big game. We've been asking for him to show up. And the first play of the game, he showed up. And that kind of set the tone, I think. When the rookies is getting good positive plays, all the line is dominating.
That's true. And I think he recorded his second half sack, or first or second half sack. So now he has a full sack.
I don't know if it was I don't know if he made a full sack or if he had a half a sack or if he just got credited with the pressure. we'll see when all the numbers come out. But I just think he was extremely impactful. I mean, to me, it's like, your offensive line is bad. You're starting a new center. You've got all these moving pieces. What was the idea with all these 7-step drops and all these slow developing routes? Like, again, the game plan was it did not play to it played right into the defense's hands, I will say. Okay. Maybe they were expecting us to come out and be more zone, more of a sit back and read. So like he gives, but like Carson dominates zone. He is not good under man. He is not good when there's pressure in his face. So why on earth would you expect the team to sort of just sit back and let you survey?
That's true, and I think we got to give credit to Gannon because they put together a masterful game plan, just making sure that everything was covered up in the back end. They rarely blitzed, and they were in man for 3/4 of the game, and that was key. Once we really shored up those breaking routes with the slot receivers, those dump offs to the running backs. That is the Commanders' calling card with like J.C. McKissick and Gibson, and then you have Jahan Dotson in the slot. Like Avonte Maddox had a heck of a game. Slay, Bradbury, all the linebackers.
Bradbury has been a revelation this season. Okay, I don't know where we be in that quarter spot. Like this quarter seems solidified. I know he's on a 1-year deal. I know there's a good chance he's probably going to go to the open market. But if I were him, I would take a deal with the Eagles and stay because they're putting you in a position to be extremely successful.
I heard from a source that they're working behind the scenes on a James Bradbury extension. I was reading.
Love to hear that. Hey, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. Okay, if it does come true, you'll look back on this clip. John has some breaking news. That would be excellent. To snap up James Bradbury because price is just going up each game. You know what I mean? And you really feel like we've been saying all along, all season, the pieces are there for the defense to be a dominating defense. Credit where credit is due. We also have to think about the fact that the teams that we have been playing are not the league's best, but you play who's on your schedule. Week in, week out, you play who's on your schedule. And if anything, look at the fact that the Lions have been giving a lot of people work, and we did hold off against the Lions. The Vikings came back. The Vikings were being talked up as a really good playoff team, and we spanked them badly. Okay, not to mention the shellacking. I think Carson's going to be seeing 55 in his dreams. Okay, 91 in his nightmares.
What a way to face your old team. Like, you just get obliterated. And he wanted that more than anybody. Jalen didn't even want it. It was him. After everything, no. He had that check
for
all
sure.
week. All week leading up to the season, leading up to everything, and I thought he would come out guns blazing. I don't know what the heck kind of game plan they put together. Wouldn't you want to get the ball out of his hands quicker, like you said earlier? Like I don't understand.
And I want to talk about it. Let's get right into it. The game plan for both, like the offensive game plan and the defensive game plan, on both sides of the ball. And I just honestly want to start with the Washington Commanders and the offensive side of the ball, because I think the defense played as well as they could have. The defense of the Washington Commanders played as well as they could have, with the offense really not giving them anything at all to work with. They were on the field for quite some time. They gave Jalen Hurts and the starters fits in the first couple of drives. If not for Wentz's fumble, who knows where the complexion of this game is, early on. You know what I mean? And then in the second half, we didn't score. Our offense stalled out, and we'll talk about that too, because that's an alarming trend. But they really were, the defense, I think, really did. They were the first freaking unit to put points on the board. So the Commanders' defense, I think, played relatively well. I don't know what was going on with the Commanders' offensive game plan. That Carson's worst tendencies are to hold the ball, try to go to hero mode, and terrible pocket presence. So what do? You give him and your O-line is shit. And you got a new center. Where's the screens? Where's the quick pass, the quick slants, the end around? Like, you're actually early on, their running game was working.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that first play, the 15-yard jet sweep,
They
yeah, open it
had
up.
it.
I was like, oh snap.
They actually did have a pretty good, like, the running game was working. And then they started to drop back the pass. And I was like, every time you drop back the pass, you really knew that Carson was either going to miss or get sacked. Like, at a certain point, that was just the only outcomes in the game. And they didn't really go. They switched up their game plan way too late. Way too late.
Way too late. The game was already out of reach. It was like the last like 8 minutes of the game. Like what the heck? I don't understand. I be my a lot of I apologize to my friends that are Commanders fans. Captain Commander. Uh, I had to say it. I had to throw that in there. But yeah, you guys look bad. I apologize,
Yeah.
but it's not gonna be a good season for you guys.
It's not.
So
It's not. And I'm not even here to say, like, Carson played bad. Like let's not put too much this, but they also didn't give him a viable game plan to play well. You know what I mean? It just didn't seem like y'all were really being situational. It's just that you were just playing to the same thing over and over. Like these 7-step drops with these low developing routes. You're not using your best players. You're not going after weaknesses and to exploit, whatever the Eagles defenses are. You're just allowing the fact that you had only 4-man rushes, that you didn't need to blitz that often, just kind of lets you know just how switch cheese that offense. Your offensive line sucks. You have the worst offensive line in the league, pretty much, and you continue to have him dropping back like that. They're over 30 times.
it
It's just a
made no
bad
sense.
process.
It is. I guess I don't know. I don't even know. It was bad.
It was
And
bad.
and you got to give kudos to Slay for shutting down Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin had his first catch for 6 yards, like deep into the third quarter. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's your number one target. That's your big play. They just gave him a huge extension in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
They just
And
give
you
him
know
a
what?
huge. Why? That's your main guy, and he doesn't have a catch until the third quarter. Like, what
Yeah.
the heck? Like, yo,
Yeah.
you
No.
should game plan, get it, force feed that guy. Him,
Mm-hmm.
Gibson, Jahan
And
Dotson has been pretty
Samuels.
good for him. And oh yeah,
Curtis
yeah.
Samuels has been playing well. There was a couple of plays there when I was just like baffled by who they chose to give that option to. Maybe that's just the way the play went. You gotta play to your numbers, but it was just a lot of confusion and a lot of things that you don't like to see. Hey, Ann, always happy to see you. But I want to be able to say, like, it was just a shitty game plan. And to get back to, credit where credit is due, the Eagles had a masterful game plan, right? I mean, on both sides of the ball, the defense and the offense knew exactly what they wanted to do. They knew exactly how they were going to do it, and they were able to execute in a beautiful fashion.
And another thing, they really keyed on going tempo
Mm-hmm.
because Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and what's the other defense? Payne.
Mm-hmm.
Those three guys log over 70 to 89% of the team snaps. So
Mm.
when you have those guys, there's not much of a rotation in the front four, and you run tempo, they're gassed. They're coming back like, oh, after a long game. You saw it.
Yeah.
It showed on the first. Well, actually, not after the second or third drive.
Mm-hmm. I think they
After
took.
we were already up 10,
Yeah.
then it really started to show because, like, dang, you don't give your defense a break. You don't give your defense a break. They're already back on the field already, and it was a massive game plan. You had Jalen just like changing plays at the line, like diagnosing what the defense is showing in coverage, where the blitz is coming, where the hot read is, and getting the ball there. And Devontae Smith really
Sweeney's
played a
having a
wonderful game.
great season. Oh my gosh, the way that he makes these catches, the body control, the dynamicism that he uses with his route running. I mean, we've never had a wide receiver duo. I think, to be honest, the only time I can remember a wide receiver duo having this much chemistry and this much buzz around them is when Jeremy Maclin and Deshaun Jackson were at their peak, right? When they were together and they were just blow. You had your home run hitter and you had your gritty guy, and then Jason Avant was in the middle getting all those hard yards, and that was just a really great wide receiver trio. And now I think we have like a really great wide receiver core. And for Zach Pascal, I know, first of all, coach had a terrible design with that, whatever that fourth down play.
The
But
jet
outside of
sweep,
that, Zach
yeah.
Pascal has been pretty good. Everything you want. Watson's has been doing great. AJ Brown, the Titans, I'm going to forever just laugh whenever I think about the Titans trading AJ Brown. Y'all should have just paid the man. It's the
Pay
same
him.
foolishness that is gonna catch the Ravens. Okay, they don't want to pay Lamar Jackson. They want to give him a fully guaranteed contract, and now you ain't gonna have the price is going up.
Yeah, it is. He's out for revenge. He's like, you don't want to give me that contract. I'm gonna make my own terms at the end of the year.
Oh my gosh!
Somebody's
When they
gonna
come
pay me
back
if
to
it's
the
not here.
table, okay, now we're ready to talk fully guaranteed. He's not gonna. You've already insulted him. And honestly, for me, he's his own agent. He's auditioning for 31 other teams this season. And
That's true.
how many? Look at the bad quarterback play around the league. Okay, Derek Carr sucks. Wentz sucks. Goff sucks. Right? What's Jameis Winston sucks. Okay. There's some bad quarterback play around the league. I think there'd be a couple owners who are okay with a fully guaranteed contract.
To get
Either
him, don't do
Baltimore
that.
has to get off their fucking high horse, or they're gonna watch the best thing that ever happened to them just walk right outside the door.
Yep. I think it's gonna happen too. It's sad.
It is. So it's amazing to me to see how much, like, when you have, first of all, you can see that Aaron Rodgers misses Devontae Adams. And, right, Devontae Adams didn't necessarily make Derek Carr that much better. Right? But you can see how much AJ Brown and Devontae Smith makes Jalen Smith. Like, they complement each other so well. And they know each other so well that it helps, where each one maybe has a slight off here, a slight off there. It doesn't matter because they know each other so well.
Yep. And they really work well. Slim was skinny Batman,
Swole Batman and
Swole
fast Batman.
We got to figure out what Zach Pascal is.
Like, honestly, we couldn't have asked for a better corner in Slay, and just the way that he's kind of somewhat been like a spokesperson for the Eagles. And now we're going to be doing Batman. We're all going to be taking on the Batman moniker. Okay, I already got a Batman shirt, so I will be putting that on when we go against the Jags and show out. It's coming. The bat signal is up, and we hear the call. We hear, Philly loves their signias and whatever. So we had Hungry Dogs back in 2017, and we got Batman capes in 2022.
Shout out to Jason Kelsey. He just started his own clothing line. You saw that? It's called Hungry Dog.
Oh, really?
And they make T-shirts. Yeah, it's awesome. He just started it on Friday. He created it, and then store just opened on Friday.
Oh, excellent. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Jason Kelsey. Let me count a couple of those.
He has shirts for all the skill players like Slay, Miles Sanders, Hurts, Goddard, Lane Johnson, AJ Brown. AJ Brown is the main one that I saw it on Twitter, and I looked into it. I was like, this is Jason Kelsey's brand. I read up on it. I was like, he just established this. I'm like, that's cool. And incorporates cool. all the guys. You see Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata in the shots or something. Like, oh man, it has everybody. This team, I don't know, something special.
The vibes are immaculate. The vibes are immaculate. They call it dog culture out there, dog mentality, and I'm into it. But I do want to talk about something that is a concern to me, something I want to keep my eye on because it has the potential to be a problem down the line, and it's our second half offense. Okay, for the second, pretty much third week in a row, in the second half, we've kind of sort of slowed down and kind of like grinded to a halt, right? Where we're not making some positive yards, but we're not getting points. We're not getting points. And the one thing that I really appreciate from Jalen is that he's constantly referencing that whenever he gets on the stadium, on the podium, he's making it case like, hey, listen, we're not finishing the game the way we know we can finish the game. We got to do better. We got to do more. And I would agree with that, because even though the offense has been hitting on all cylinders in the first half, the defense, even though it takes them a while, they definitely have the offensive back. Special teams, special team is terrible. Special team is shit. I cannot stand Sipas. I don't like him as a punter. I don't understand why we didn't bring another punter in. We have terrible return men and kickoff return men. Our special teams has been shit. Our special teams hasn't been good since Chip Kelly was coach. Let's get real.
That's true. They're lacking something. They need a better returner. Britton Covey muffed that one, but then like on the other returns, he ran right into. He didn't follow. He like they were hit. The blockers were set up, and he ran straight into the. Yeah, he got hit. He got helmet to helmet a few times.
Listen, I was like, we're just lucky that he didn't lose the ball.
That's true, but that was the only thing that the Commanders could celebrate. I think at one point, their punt coverage guys had more tackles than their linebackers. Like they had more stops on punt than they did on defense.
No, it was just bad. It was just bad. And I'm thinking to myself, against better teams, like let's be real, we have a very easy schedule early on in the season, right? And against better teams, we are going to find ourselves at times where we have to throw ourselves back in the game, right? We can say that this doesn't bother us because we've been able to pretty much put the game away by the first half, and the defense has been stout enough that we haven't had to worry about better quarterbacks willing their teams to win, right? However, we're going to be playing some better quarterbacks soon, and I don't think you can feel comfortable with 24 points against Kyler Murray, for example, right? I don't know. I mean, look, thinking about how the Jaguars are starting to come into themselves. They had a great game against the Chargers today. Do we want to see that happen? I mean, Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. And you know what I mean? I mean, Carson at one point could have been good, but the injuries and him not being able to get out of his own way, and that'll be our last topic of the night, is it shows up. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be facing better quarterbacks. We've got Aaron Rodgers on our schedule at some point, you know? And so I really do think that if we don't learn how to, we're on these motherfuckers' throat. Excuse my language. Stay on their throat. Don't let up.
Run a score up if you want. I mean, it's the NFL. People get paid to do it. Make them stop.
You understand? So that is to me I want to call it a medium level concern, because it hasn't gotten in the way of us winning yet. But the second it does, it's going to be a huge problem.
Definitely an underlying one. Definitely. It could grow to be something, but hopefully not. We pray on it.
Right.
We pray on it.
I mean, I want to see them finish out.
Hopefully they just, it's just the fact that, oh, you know what, we're up 2 touchdowns. Let's try to get the ball back. Let's play more zone, more soft shell. Hopefully it's that, and it's not like, oh, dang.
There's like a real concern. Like there's like maybe like we have all this momentum, but then it kind of peters out. And then I go back to the idea that, well, look, our special team sucks. We're constantly our starting position is terrible. Okay. Yeah. I don't think we, outside of like some of these opening kickoffs, we don't have starting positions higher than the 25-yard line. You know what I mean? So it's it's a pretty long field you have to matriculate. And I think in the first half, and this is just pure speculation, but you're going off so much energy, so much this, so much that, it's easy to get those long drives grinded out in the first half, right? But then because we're winning, I think it's not as consistent in the second half because it's still long drives and you're looking at the scoreboard, you know you're winning, you know what I mean? It's just maybe not that same level of intensity. And against the wrong team, that mindset will quickly turn into a loss.
That's true. Because teams in this league, they could be down 20 points and come back and win by one.
Yeah, absolutely. We've
Like
seen it.
that. In a
I
moment's
mean,
notice, boop, boop, boop.
right. Look at the Dolphins and how they came back this week and last week. You know, you just never know. And against a team that is going to give you a little bit more. And of course, our defense played well. Like let's give credit where credit is due. So that helped significantly. However, we still have to think about the days when Jonathan Gannon reverts back to his natural self. Like maybe this is only happening because he's been playing bad quarterbacks the first couple of seasons. Like there's a bit of a correlation last season where we actually played this well, and then all the quarterbacks that we played sucked. Like what was the stat? Like Jonathan Gannon's couldn't do well against a 500 level like QB or whatever like that, right? Like a 500 level team, and we kind of like the bad. So we're still at that juncture where we're kind of having to prove that we're actually legit, and that legitimacy is going to come from our ability to actually, sustain really, really positive drives offensively against our better performing teams.
I agree. We gotta really once the meat of our schedule comes, we gotta be rolling. Hopefully they continue to grow. No injuries, knock on wood.
Right, knock on wood. Get the penalties were way more improved this game than the last two. So I think Nick Sirianni has the guys buying in. I think that's the most important thing, right? He's got them buying in. He's got himself, I think, with a good idea of how he wants to run a team. He's a very exacting taskmaster, which I think is good for the team. And we're hopefully, on a upward trend. You just want to watch out for all of the sort of hidden holes. It's a long season.
That's true. Hopefully we tied to weather the storm, and I think we'll finish well. I mean, after today's game, expectations just continue to skyrocket.
Absolutely.
I hope we meet it. I hope we meet it, and I hope we get back to the Super Bowl. That's the end goal.
Absolutely. The sky's. I mean, nobody expected us to be 3-0. We didn't expect to be 3-0. So the fact that we're here now with some of the best starts that we ever seen the team have, and some of the best play we have seen the team have in quite some time, it's giving full 2017 vibes. And you really hope that we can really sustain that momentum to the mountaintop. So let's get into the ad today. We have the DraftKings ad. The NFL action is at full swing here at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We're talking touchdown, big plays, and even bigger wins. New customers can bet just $5 on any NF team to win and get $200 in free bets if they're due. If that's not enough, everyone can boost their savings with the DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Right now, for every leg you add, you can boost your winnings up to 100% with payouts bigger than ever. Why bet on football anywhere else? To make things sweeter, you could throw down on stepped up same game parlays once per game day all season long. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use the promo code TPPN. You see it scrolling down your screen to get $200 in free bets if your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code TPPN. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. 18 and older. An official sports betting of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. That is a great deal, guys. Y'all better tap in.
Tap in.
All right. Our last topic of the night, I think it's going to be our, maybe not as a polarizing a conversation as it would have been if Whit was here, but we'll hold it down for him because I think, in a very clear cut way, this was a Carson versus Jalen type of game, in the sense of you can see the plays of the two quarterbacks and how, one is immeasurably better than the other. And let's just talk about it, right? And I'll go first just because I have something I have to say. As y'all all know, I am a Jalen skeptic. Okay. I do and did doubt his potential to be the quarterback that we need him to be, a franchise level quarterback. But you know what? He has laid a significant amount of my doubts to rest. And I am here to say that I am a Jalen Hurts. I've always been a Jalen Hurts fan, so don't get me wrong. I just didn't know if he would be a franchise level QB. But what he has shown me through the first 3 weeks of the season, notwithstanding the second half stalls, has put me in a much, much, much more comfortable position to say, you know what? I was wrong. Jalen Hurts is QB1, and all hail Jalen Hurts. I can't even. Whip missed it. He'll never hear me say it. But I'm here to say that I have made the conversion. I was presented with new information and I changed my mind.
Good.
I'm here now. So with that being said, how are your feelings on this, John? I know it's breaking down.
I'm happy. I'm happy that like this revelation came about because we all knew he had the potential. We knew what his background and his makeup was, and now it was just a matter of him showing the world and really just producing. The familiarity and having the same offense just continues to help him, and his mindset and his approach to everything is so like refreshing. You don't see that a lot with your star, your leader, your quarterback at such a young age. You don't see that. Even like the Aaron Rodgers took years to like grow. Tom Brady took him a little. I mean, he was early, but like to have that poise, to have that command of his offense, command of everyone. He's the leader. Like that's crazy, and his play is reflective finally of that. I think it it was a long time in the making, and I'm happy for him. Pray for him. Definitely pray for him because I was like, the opportunity couldn't be better for him to take this and run with it, and he has. Now it's just a matter of sustaining, staying healthy, and everything will fall how the chips may lay. You know what I mean? And
absolutely
excited for him, happy for him, and everything that he went through with the benching in Alabama, coming back in the national championship game when Tua went down to do what he did, and then go to Oklahoma and basically do it all over again and ball out, and then get drafted as an insurance policy for Carson, coming to an environment where it wasn't so warm, where he was seen as competition and not like a brother. And I think that those experiences along the way helped him to where he is now. He's only going to grow. And now he's playing with his boys. They're close. They're just going to continue to grow. I think this is the beginning of many things to come. And I couldn't be happy. Couldn't be happy. The numbers today were like crazy in the first half. That's a game. Like his numbers in the first half were what people put up in the entire game.
And I think that's what gives a lot of people the reason to like not, like I said in our earlier segment, like not have that pause, because he is performing very well in this first half, just lights out. My last place is consistency, right? And he is being talked in that top echelon because now his stats are sort of matching up to the way that his gameplay is. And I think that is extremely important. I want to be able to see consistency, and that's going to take the whole season, right? But I'm here to say that I can now see it, where for me, it was hard in the past to see the consistency of Jalen Hurts. Now I can say that like it's there. Now we just have to maintain, like a standard has been met about the type of play that you're producing. And now I just have to see you put that same play out on the field week in and week out. Like, I don't particularly put the offensive stalls on his shoulders. I think that's a team thing, and it starts with the head coach and the play caller, not so much Jalen. So really just seeing his maturation, and there was never for me a doubt about his leadership or a doubt about his mentality or his character. It was only, could all of those things be able to show up in a big way on the field so that it could actually show us like a very good, complimentary football. And credit where credit is due. We really have to also give kudos to Howie Roseman, right? I will say this. It will always be bad process to have drafted Jalen where Jalen was drafted. That doesn't say that Jalen didn't go on to make wonders with it and make Howie look like a genius now in hindsight, but it was bad process. It was bad process. And I don't know. I hear this whole argument, but I feel like, look, Brett Favre didn't give Aaron Rodgers no more than a howdy doody. You know what I mean? Tom Brady didn't like Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not strange for the starting quarterback to leave the person drafted to replace you a little to the side. But Carson did it for the whole team, and at the end of the day, he wasn't very accountable. And I think ultimately his lack of accountability with a lot of things is what makes him not as good of a quarterback as Jalen Hurts. Like, Jalen will be accountable 100% of the time, where I think Carson looks for those edges and smudges to wiggle his way out, and here we go. It's something that he needs to improve on, and I don't know if he has, but hey, he was on the ground 9 times today, so something that hasn't changed about him.
It was hit 15 hits, 16 hits, 17 hits, 17 quarterback hits. That's a recipe for disaster. They're trying to get him hurt.
He holds onto the ball too long, and sometimes he doesn't take the easy routes that are there, and his desire to hold on to the ball for that huge play is, I think, that plus the fact that Jalen doesn't do that. Like, Jalen will take the easy completions, and if not, he still has the capacity. Like, clearly Carson, all those injuries did accumulated a toll on him. He doesn't have the same elasticity as he used to have, right? But Jalen's young, Jalen's fast, Jalen's mobile, and so I think that extra element puts us in a great place. And now he's being way more accurate with the football. He's being way more decisive with the football because he knows where he wants to go. Like that point you make about him being in his second year in the same offense with the same play caller and the same QB, all those things are having a positive impact because he knows what to do in that offense. That offense and him are married together in a positive way, sort of like how we saw in the early seasons with Carson and in the Eagles back in 2017.
That's Zach Ertz. Do you know on the last before the end of the second before halftime, after Devontae leaped up and made that 44-yard catch where he got knocked out, they didn't have much time left. No, I think
the running play got stuffed, and then Jalen. Yep, go ahead, John.
Jalen called that play, and it wasn't even in their game plan or anything. And the fact that he knows what to call at the right time, and it's such a refreshing thing to have that maturation happen on the field right in front of us like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. And it's amazing to see the maturation, and also it's amazing to see how he is able to constantly make sure that he's doing like even when he's necessarily like making, let's say, a bad read, he's still going through the process, right? I think a lot of times you can sometimes see tension in between what the play caller wants to do with the football and then what the quarterback wants to do with the football. And that, towards the end of Carson and Doug and everybody's, sort of falling apart, that was a big issue, right? That what Doug wanted to do and what Carson wanted to do were two totally different things, and that created a lot of attention for the offense. And that's not something you're seeing here, right? What you're seeing here is a quarterback who is extremely comfortable with what his play caller calls, a play caller that is extremely comfortable with what he knows his quarterback can do, and then receivers that know very, very well what they have to do to help their quarterback. And our offensive line is the best offensive line in the league. So you're gonna play pretty well when you have a great offensive line.
That's true. And also, it's a good thing and a great development when Jerry Jones publicly says he's afraid of you. He's afraid of
Yeah,
Jalen
yeah,
Hurts. So,
yeah.
sky's the
The
limit.
sky is the limit. We are seeing some amazing, amazing team play, really. And if there's just a couple of things, there's always things that you need to kind of like clean up. So there's a couple of things that we could definitely clean up. It's a long season. I feel very comfortable in saying that I have no doubt that these things will be cleaned up. I think that Jalen has done everything that you need and want for him. And so hopefully we could just continue to just elevate. The whole team just elevate. Um and yeah, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. We're looking at a first round bye if we keep going on in this rate.
And I think we're the last undefeated team, right? In the NFC.
Are we?
Yeah, because
I don't know. I know the Bills went
we're
down. No, I think the Dolphins are still undefeated, right?
so undefeated. That's
Yeah.
right.
Which is, to me, I think is so interesting, right? Because the two, I think, most controversial quarterbacks this season was Tua and Jalen, and they both seem to be balling out at a rate that you were. I'm certainly, listen. I'm still not a Tua fan, but I think that what they have around him, again, when you know how to play to your quarterback strengths, I think it makes quarterbacks look that maybe wouldn't do well with other players look very, very good. It's the same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Like, nobody wanted to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo because they feel like Jimmy Garoppolo can only succeed in Kyle Shanahan's offense. But guess what? He does succeed in Kyle Shanahan's offense. So it's one of those things where you're just happy that Jalen got matched, I think, with the offense that works perfectly for his strengths and minimizes his weaknesses, and that allows him to play fast and free football and mistake-free football.
I agree, and it's great to see that he's following the right reads. He hasn't, aside from the Gainwell screenplay interception, hasn't thrown any dangerous passes. He's thrown into tight windows. He's throwing to the receivers in stride. He's throwing them open. He's being smart with the football. He hasn't muffed any snaps. So the execution part has been stellar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be tested as the months get colder.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely going to be tested. We face better teams like the Packers, and it's going to be awesome. And then we get into the meat of our conference with the Cowboys and the Giants. They face off on Monday night, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, so I think the Giants are still undefeated too. So I mean, it's our division is always weird. It's always a fluky division. So I'm gonna enjoy how well we're playing now, because you never know when certain things just go awry. That's the National Football League for you. It stands for not for long. So I'm gonna just ride out this sort of bliss. But I agree with you, John. Like, everything seems to be hitting at a great time. Everybody seems to be enjoying each other's company. They seem bonded. They seem connected. I think Nick Sirianni is doing a great job of just leading the team, and I think that has led to some very, very dynamic results. So we really, the sky's the limit for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm excited to watch every single game.
The rest factor too has been great too. We didn't mention that. The rest factor. You know how we were like, oh, they didn't really play that much during the preseason. The practices were kind of curtailed and not as long as some other teams' practices sessions are. It's paying off because we haven't really faced many injuries.
Yep. Knock on wood.
Nagging ones, cramps or like getting rolled up on. You roll your ankle, but like the four guys that got hurt today, they all came back. Slay came back.
Goddard came
Hargrave,
back.
Goddard, Hassan Reddick. It's gonna be fun to see how
Yeah,
that
it's gonna
comes
be
together.
fun. It's gonna be fun. All right, y'all. That concludes another episode of Three Birds and a Punt. Please make sure you subscribe and download to the podcast. We're streaming on Apple, Anchor, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. We're also follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Three Birds and a Punt. Hit that subscribe button on that YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow me personally at According to Afia on Twitter, and you can follow my guy John. Where can they follow you at, John?
John Monroe Jr. on Twitter.
John Monroe Jr. on Twitter. All right. Great episode, and go Birds!
Go Birds!